Alright, so I did this about last time this year, and since it's the last day of the year pretty much, I figured we'll do a drive to kind of show the improvements to the TCU in my E55 now rather than my CDI, but also talk about the launch process for this because that is underway currently. I will talk about that in a bit once I get driving, and then you guys can kind of judge the drive behavior and stuff like that in my E55. So let's get into it. To begin with, let's just turn the engine on. Shift into drive. It still bangs going into drive. I'm working on that. I'll actually turn the EC down a little bit. I'm working on the basically garage shifting behavior because I know I do need to apply counter pressure to one of the clutches, which is why it kind of bangs into drive. That's my to-do list for after the new year. But let's get moving. I'll wait for this guy to move. So put these onto comfort. Raise the car up. Okay, so this is the first time I'm doing it in daytime though, because normally I do this type of driving at nighttime. But I figured today I'll just do it in the daytime, and this is my whole PC screen. It's viewing the TCU behavior right now, so I can watch it as I'm driving. That's why I've had it for a while now. Yeah, it's a little bit more comfortable for me. So currently I'm in comfort profile. I've got six profiles now. Comfort, sport, agility, manual, winter, and of course race mode. I will show all of them on this drive. So comfort and winter both start in second gear, except winter is currently manual, whereas comfort is automatic. And also winter has no torque converter lockup at all. Again, this will all be eventually configurable. Just try and look out for when there's a car coming, and freedom. So very smooth shifting in comfort. There's still no torque requests from the TCU. Normally the stock TCU does ask the engine to like back down on power during shifts. I'm currently only doing that in like really high power situations. In comfort mode it barely needs to, but all the shift times and everything is configurable, and the TCU kind of tries working out for itself as to what pressures it needs. Yeah, you see that on the screen down there. But yeah, in comfort, this is genuinely really nice driving. Like, I've enjoyed driving in comfort on the highways and also just in town. It's really pleasant to drive with. This has probably been my most tuned profile. Like, I've tuned all the tables for this for my driving style in the E55. There are testers in my group who have CDI based cars who are also doing their own tuning for that type of engine behavior. Anyway, let's keep going. As you can see, really nice smooth shift times. Just make it past the bus. And I'll turn the seat warmer on as well. I'm feeling a bit cold. And also, probably not the best place to show this, but the TCU now works with adaptive cruise control on this car. So Distronics, I've handled torque request, not torque requests, but basically the TCU needs to tell the ESP module how much torque is being lost in the gearbox for the ESP module to correctly calculate things like engine demand torque that it needs for keeping the car at a certain speed, and also for when ESP needs to intervene. I'm telling the ESP module that now. It's guesstimated because I don't have the exact torque specs of the gearbox and like the torque loss in every gear. I've tried reverse engineering it over CAN bus, but that hasn't really worked out. So I'm just kind of guessing right now. It seems to work well enough for my use case. Of course, it would be great if I ever knew the torque specs from Mercedes for the gearbox, but I doubt that information will ever be known, since this is my own project and that data is probably behind a wall of confidentiality at Mercedes. Let me switch the gearbox now into agility mode. There we go. So agility mode is a little bit quicker shifting. Obviously where it changed from first to second there, it didn't actually have the torque converter locked up, which is why it felt a little bit weird. But if I put it in manual, it'll lock the torque converter up a lot harsher, just for my own sake, because I want it to do that. Again, that's all configurable eventually, but currently I've configured it in code for it to do that. But I do plan on making those maps editable by the user in the configuration app, which is actually what's running down here on the screen. On my PC in the trunk, that's all running, and I've got the display for it up here in the front. Hence why also the module for your lower control panel is hanging out like this. I need to make that digital. It probably worked out you guys couldn't see that, but oh well. Now, regarding the actual launch of the TCU, I have set up a website. I will leave the link for that in the description. It's very bare bones right now, but I've tried to make it look nice and stuff because I'm working a lot on the documentation and code base side, and I don't really have enough time to work on the website as well, but it's using Shopify, so payments and everything will work fine. I pretty much guarantee that. I've done some test purchases myself. I've got boards now which are being assembled at the factory. Well, mostly assembled, and then I need to put the last components and the connector and the EGS case on, and then I can ship them out to customers who want. There's also a version of the board without the EGS case and connector, which is a bit cheaper, because currently I still need to buy EGS modules and rip the connectors off them and rip the cases out of them, which is proving to be a little bit expensive, but that is the way things are for now. I am working on 3D designed cases and connectors, but again, the connector is really difficult for me to engineer because it requires the metal pins, which I've asked some suppliers in China and they say that they can't make them because I have no clue why they can't make them. Oh, that was a really harsh downshift, but that was a really nice upshift though. I haven't yet tuned the downshift behavior from 2 to 1 perfectly yet, so sometimes it kind of twitches into first gear, which is a little annoying, but it's just some map tweaking I need to do. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Let's actually go manual now. There we go, a fancy manual. Yeah, back to what I was saying. See, that was a really nice shift. And 2 to 3. So manual's a little bit quicker than sports or agility mode, but race mode is by far the fastest shifting out of all of them. But it's like, don't use race mode on a day-to-day basis, because you will probably kill your transmission if you use it constantly. Like, it's fine to use it, but just don't use it constantly at high power. I don't accept any liabilities here if your gearbox blows up because you decide to do like 50 millisecond shift times in it whilst pulling 400 or something horsepower for it. But anyway, it's a really nice experience now for TCU. There are safety aspects. So I know on Twitter that people have been calling me out saying, why are you using the ESP32 module? It's unsafe. The code for it is unsafe. How do you know if this TCU works? I've got that all figured out. I've done temperature testing and stuff like this in a torture chamber. I've done humidity testing as well in a torture chamber. The thing works fine. But I do plan to do a video probably in the new year or shortly after, whereby we go over all the safety aspects of the TCU and how that helps. For instance, if a TCU reboots or like loses power whilst you're driving and comes back on, it automatically works out what gear you're still in and kind of resumes itself from where it was. It doesn't really need to, it doesn't assume you're in your start gear, at which point then shifting would be really, really weird and potentially blow the transmission up. Also, things like engine overspeed behavior, like if it detects the speed sensors aren't working, it then goes into a fail-safe mode. So there is a lot of safety stuff that I have been working on, but it's just not really publicly known because I've never spoken about it, because I've never had to make a video about it. But I'm working with a friend of mine who works in cybersecurity on that. We're going to make a nice little video or a nice little write-up about it so you guys can view all the safety aspects of the TCU. Heck, even stuff like what happens if it gets into an implausible gear situation is all figured out as well. Like, it can try calculating what gear it's currently in versus what gear it wants, and it can basically determine if the solenoids aren't working. It's got solenoid short circuit detection and non-working solenoid detection as well. It's got everything, but I just haven't, again, spoken about it because I've had no need to until people have started calling me out about this isn't working, but why, oh, not this isn't working, but why are you using this module, it's unsafe. And to be fair to them, the ESP32 module, if you use the Arduino framework, is extremely slow and extremely unstable, and I don't like it, so I'm using the IDF code base, but also using my own abstraction layer on top of that, which is built in, well, we're converting it into a safer style of C and C++, like a better more automotive grade code base for error checking and everything like that. We're working on it. It's a slow migration, but hey ho, we're getting there. And maybe someday eventually we'll also merge the code base into Rust. Not merge, but convert it into Rust slang. So yeah, manual mode is really, really nice to change gears in. I'm actually going to turn my lights on, so you guys can maybe see the instrument cluster a little bit better. I'm currently picking all the slow roads, but don't worry, I will open up to a nice and open road. But yeah, so far, do comment on the below as to like how you feel this gearbox is shifting and stuff like that. I will put it into race mode once we get into the open road, so I can actually show off like how quickly this TCU can change gears, because it's ridiculous. But we're just kind of going through Reading / Caversham right now. These are two towns local to me, but they've got some very nice roads at the back of them, which I'm going to now. That was a really rough 2-to-1 downshift because the torque converter was still locked. And also things like SBC work as well, so I can hold the SBCH function on. That works fine for TCU as well now. So pretty much the car is absolutely fine running my TCU. There is zero problems with it, no check engine light, no ABS malfunction when running the TCU. Obviously, if the TCU reboots whilst driving, which has only happened to me once in the entire development cycle of this TCU, because I made a stupid error in my code, but luckily that's not public code I was testing things with. Divide by zero error does result in the TCU rebooting, but hey ho, we fixed that type of stuff. All that happens is the TCU resumes within like 200 milliseconds or so and gets back to where it was. Once it restarts, it sees that like the car is moving, it does a verification check to see what gear the car is in, and then resumes from there. But because the TCU basically went silent for like 200 milliseconds or so, all that you get is like Distronics warning on the instrument cluster saying it's no longer available. But all that you've got to do is to turn the car off and on again, and it pretty much fixes itself. Why did I choose to come this way? There is traffic this way. Oh. I might cut the video here and resume when I'm out of a traffic jam, because this is not fun. Okay, so now that we appear to be out of a traffic jam and onto slightly faster roads at the next traffic light, I can quickly turn Distronics on to show that works fine with my TCU installed. So Distronics is totally happy at keeping the speed. It also keeps scanning. I'll switch to that display. You can see the car maybe in the front. I don't know how well the instrument cluster is visible on camera. But here's a nice little faster road coming up here because it changes to 50. So I'll put the car into race mode, and you guys can see how the car performs here. So I'll shut up for a sec, put it in first. Yeah, so really quick shifting. Also downshifting is pretty quick too. This car is so much fun to drive. I don't care that it gets poor fuel economy. I mean, I'm getting like 15 miles per gallon doing all of this. That's 15 miles per gallon UK, not US miles per gallon, because you guys have smaller gallons for some reason. It's such a lovely car to drive though. This car, to be fair, gets more miles per mile than my old CDI did. So I definitely enjoy driving it. Even though it's got over 212,000 miles on it, this car drives like an absolute dream. I'm taking it to Germany next month to do cross-country all the way to the east side of Germany to get to my workplace, to do some work there, and also see some friends along the way, so it'll be fun. Now I'll put it back in standard now. So this is just like normal stock shifting. starting in first gear now. So auto downshift to fourth there. That was the third. A little flare going into fourth, but this gearbox is really tired, so I don't blame it for flaring. It flared on the stock TCU too, quite badly. But it only seems to do it at light throttle rather than heavy throttle now, so I know I just need to basically tweak some pressure management and maybe we can get the flare to go away like magic, which would be really, really nice. Turn back on PC. Thank you. But yeah, there's let's talk about some of my other projects going on right now. So we've obviously got the display down here that I'm working on. That I've put on hold for now because it's just running my TCU config app. But I'm working slowly to do CAN related stuff. So currently now the PC is permanently installed in the trunk. I'll see if I can put a picture of it up. And it wakes up when the car wakes up, it goes to sleep when the car goes to sleep. I'm working on the ISO-TP communication against the cluster so that I can get tracks playing and stuff like that on my display. That'll be really nice. Okay, we're slowing down to a 30 here, so I put my limiter on as well to 30 just to make sure, because there are lots of speed cameras around here. So yeah, I've also 3D printed this with my new printer in one piece, the bezel around the display, which looks really nice. I need to put a permanent hazard button in though, so that I can use the hazards function without the PC being on, and then that way I can get rid of the lower control panel module, which is just kind of hanging down here. It's just kind of chilling, because I need the hazard button for it to basically pass its MOT, which is its yearly inspection, which is coming up in January. I just need the hazard button to be visible, it doesn't care where. But yeah, this is the English countryside now we're driving through. Or if you'd call it countryside, I don't really know. Because compared to Germany, this is like nothing. Obviously, if you guys have any more questions or stuff like that, you guys can just put a comment below. I'll try answering all of them. Now we go up to 40 here. Regarding the car though, I've had to do really very little maintenance to it despite its age. Like, the only thing that recently died on it was the alternator. Changed that. That was pretty pricey, but I did it in about 4 hours at the workshop with a friend. So that was really, really helpful. I also, because I had to drain the coolant to get the alternator out, I did a coolant flush whilst I was at it. And the car's pretty much happy and ready to go to Germany, which would be really nice. So this is now Henley we are in, pretty much. I might hint it. Also, the paddles work in all modes on this TC, because I noticed on the stock E55 TC, the paddles only worked in manual, which I found really strange because I was used to it in my CDI working with the paddles basically act as the plus and minus selector on the shift lever. But that wasn't the case with the E55. Now I've got the paddles to work in all modes, and they basically act the same as the plus minus button. They kind of share the same code base. And obviously, even in manual or race mode, the TCU still stops you from doing stupid things like over-revving the engine badly. because I know that's not great if your engine blew up for TCU. So stuff like that, as well as putting the code base. So basically when you ask it to upshift or downshift, it checks the RPM which the car will be at if you've switched gear, and it kind of compares that to if that's in a safe margin or not. And regarding engine mods for the car, I don't really have any plan, to be fair. I want to kind of keep this car stock because it drives beautifully as is. The air suspension and everything works beautifully, despite its age and everything. I mean, I'm aware it will probably need to be changed, and if it does ever fail, the air suspension, I will just throw in, well, I'll throw in more air suspension. I'm not going to go to coilovers on this because I love the way this car drives. Oh yeah, we're now in Henley-on-Thames. It's a really nice little village. So I put it in comfort so that it shifts a little bit earlier for me. But yeah, other than that, I don't really have much else to say, so I suppose I will... Oh yeah, of course I've got more to say. I need to say, like, yeah, so this year, generally speaking, has been really productive for me. I've grown about 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I'm really thankful for. My Instagram account has kind of, well, it's gained about 100 followers, which, you know, I'm happy for, because this is such a niche channel. I'm thankful whenever I get a subscriber and someone likes my video or stuff like that, because it's so niche. I know I'm never going to do as well as like some of the bigger YouTube channels in automotive, because what I do is, well, niche. It's not really like a, you know, throwing a fat engine into a car YouTube channel. This is like technical, what I do. But I'm really thankful to everyone who supports my work and stuff. And then looking forward into next year, I plan to be selling a lot more of the TCUs. Again, I will leave the link to the website where you can order the one online. I currently only have like 7 boards available, but I've ordered another batch, which should come hopefully mid-January, so we'll see. Oh no, another traffic jam. So I suppose I will probably keep filming here. I like to talk out loud, by the way, which is why I'm speaking about everything I'm doing. But yeah, I'm looking forward to selling a lot more of the boards. I'm looking forward to also improving the TCU even further. Maybe we can add modes in. Like, one thing I want to do is to basically make the standard mode and agility mode with what you would call AMG speed shift, whereby it's faster torque converter lockup, holding the gears around corners, because I think that's beneficial for everyone, not just the AMG enthusiasts. And then make comfort a lot more relaxed and a lot more like conservative with gear changes, make it a lot smoother. And then race mode is just absolute like ridiculous shifting, because, you know, you only want that on occasions. But yeah, I think I will leave the video here for now. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment section. Once again, Happy New Year to you all, and I'm really grateful for all the support I'm getting through this channel. So from that, I'll leave it from here. So goodbye.